what we're going to do is make a paper plane. This is, we'll start with a bit of paper. This is origami we're talking about here. So the first thing we need to do is tear a square. So just a little quick starter. I've got two-sided paper here. If you very carefully, all you got to do is have a right angle, and you can get a square. This is A4 paper. So first of all, you crease a triangle along that side, and then you very carefully line up so that you get a line parallel with that line. Then you've got your creases, and then you just tear a little start, and then you should be able to sometimes at the end here it snags over to that diagonal, but we're okay. Right, I've chosen double-sided paper just to kind of traditional origami thing, I guess, to show you which side's which. Now we've got a bit of a fluffy edge there, so the first thing we're going to do is get rid of that. So I think we'll have it that way, actually. So I've creased it the wrong way. So the first thing is to get rid of that fluffy edge. So the first thing to do is crease it so fold it into the middle so that the side comes into that middle line that you've got with the crease. It's best to make it as accurate as possible, and then the plane's got the best chance of flying in a straight line, although it always tends to list to one side or the other, which is all part of the fun. If you just want the plane to fly in a straight line, you need a different design. Okay, easy so far. So that's your kind of kite shape. The next thing you do is you fold this corner, the pointy corner, to the slightly blunter corner, and make another crease. So that's with these folds on the inside. Now we get to the first bit where you're going to need a bit of judgment. Roughly halfway between that centre line and the edge, you need to fold it back on itself. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to turn it over just to line the crease up and fold it flat. Okay, so that's what we got so far. Yeah. Now the next bit is the tricky bit, I think. So we're going to have to fold both of these into the middle again, but of course because of this bit here, it's not going to be able to do it. So we'll get to that in a second, but again, line it up very carefully. And if you try and make a little pocket out of it, so that you flatten it in as far as you can. And then the trick here, never really varied it, but is to try and get that parallel with the front. So you squash that down. Right, so I think you see that. So that went from there into the middle, and then squash that down roughly parallel with the front. And then do the same on the other side. Again, making that point as sharp as you can. And again, that's the tricky bit. And just try and line it up with the other side, so they both should be parallel. Okay, so not quite perfect, but hey. Okay, so you're nearly there. So the idea now is we fold that all in on itself in half so they're completely symmetrical, and flatten it down. Okay, now we've got to make the wings. So there's your nose, the wings are coming next. You basically follow the line of the nose so that it doesn't come flat but comes following that line as much as possible. Okay, that's about right. And then you do the same the other side. So again, a bit easier because it's symmetrical. Okay, so we're nearly finished. Yeah, so you've got one thing left to do, which is the tail. It won't fly without the tail. So I usually do it by hand, but the idea is the tail sticks up as a right angle. So you can do this, and it needs to go right to the edge of the wing. So you can do this by doing a practice fold, just to give you a line. And then it's actually a reverse fold. So you open it up, you push that to fold the opposite direction. And then when you pull it back in, okay, I don't like that. I think I'll pull it a bit higher. On the adjustment fly there. So if you see, that should be about a right angle. So that is, oops, sorry, about a right angle. So that is your plane. If you're lucky, you'll get it to do a loop-the-loop. You can probably do it so it goes around, maybe even boomerangs back to you in a circle. But it'll certainly do some interesting things. So I'd like to give credit for that, but I can't remember who taught me how to do it. I can't find it anywhere on the internet. I've been making it like that for years, and that's for my friend Zach. So the way to hold it, the way to throw it, is not to hold it there, which is the kind of instinctive thing, but actually hold it a bit further back, maybe even there. So you follow through, and if you want to get some air under it, even if you want to bank it to the side, you kind of like follow through like that. So point it in the way it's going. You can just float it if you throw it gently. If you throw it really hard with a bit of air under it, it'll actually loop the loop. So when the weather's a bit drier, I'll go out and demonstrate that. Otherwise, that's it. I'd like to give reference, but I didn't go to university, didn't learn the Harvard referencing system, because that's all the university's about, isn't it? So, but I don't know where it came from, but that's what it is. Kind of a stunt plane.